Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your 8 PM evening show. And let's just clear up the elephant in the room straight away. Let's get out of the way with. I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking, what's happened to Goldbridge? He looks like he's aged another 20 years. He's dyed his hair ginger. He's grown a beard. But no, it's not Mark Goldbridge. I'm sorry to inform you, Mark Goldbridge has retired. And I, yours truly, Tull, I'm going to be taking over the United Stand. So get used to this ginger face and this ginger beard, these ginger eyebrows. Get used to it, because this is what you're going to be seeing every 8 PM from now on. I'm joking. Goldbridge will be back. Goldbridge is in Nottingham today. He's in a charity match. He's playing in a charity match with Ginge, you know, that other Ginger United fan, Danny Aarons, Chris MD, the lot of them. They're all there, but I'm not there. Couldn't tell you why. Anyway, we've got a few things to talk about today. The main topic of discussion being Sofyan Amrabat. Manchester United looking at activating the clause for Sofyan Amrabat to sign him on a permanent deal. Now, if you watched me fan forum before the FA Cup final, then you'd know I was Sofyan Amrabat out. I didn't want him. I had no interest in him. But after the FA Cup final, I kind of changed my mind a little bit. So I'm going to be looking to you guys in the chat. I want to know what you think about Sofyan Amrabat. Other things we're going to discuss. Joao Neves, another Portuguese midfielder. We love our Portuguese midfielders in Manchester. Absolutely love them. 85 million quid. We're going to talk about that a bit later on. Would you do it? Another thing we're going to talk about, centre-back options. I know Kev touched on it in the morning show, so we won't spend too long talking about it. But Jared Branthwaite, Todibo, two centre-backs Manchester United are heavily linked to. So we're going to go over that as well. So I'm seeing Gingerbridge in the chat. I'm seeing Harvey Elliott. Look, I'm used to it, people. I'm used to the Harvey Elliott comments. Right. Sofyan Amrabat. You're going to have to help me out with this one because I'm torn. I'm very torn about Sofyan Amrabat. Let me just get the headline up for you. So we've got Manchester United have not ruled out the possibility of activating the option to sign Sofyan Amrabat on a permanent deal, with a decision likely to be delayed until after finalising Erik ten Hag's future. Erik ten Hag's future, eh? Who knows what's happening with it? Who knows who our manager's going to be next season? That's something I'd like to say about us signing players. What's the point in us signing players when we don't even know who the manager is? Seriously, we need to get the manager situation sorted out before we do anything. It kind of ties into the whole Jared Branthwaite thing. Let me just get into the next headline for you really quickly and we'll go back to the Amrabat thing. But Everton are looking for between 70 to 80 million pounds of Jared Branthwaite. And United are looking to do the deal before the 30th of June to help comply with the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. Right then, 30th of June. So we're giving ourselves before the end of June to get a deal for Jared Branthwaite done. We are 1 week. We're over 1 week into June. Nobody has a clue who the manager's going to be next season. How are we going to do a deal for a player when we don't even know who the manager's going to be next season? It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Right then, there's a poll in the chat, people. Get your vote in. Sofyan Amrabat. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be transparent. Do I think Sofyan Amrabat had a good first season for Manchester United? No. I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to be honest. I don't think he was that good, to be honest with you. Look, towards the end of the season, he's shown little glimpses of what he could do. In particular, the game against Arsenal at Old Trafford, the game against Newcastle at Old Trafford, and then that FA Cup final against Man City, which, I said it myself, he was an absolute animal. He ran the show. And that was the Amrabat we thought we were getting. That was the Amrabat we seen at the World Cup for Morocco. Now, let's have a quick look at this poll, people. Saying 80% yes. 80% of you would keep Sofyan Amrabat. Now, hold on. I've just seen Clinton in the chat say we didn't get that Amrabat. I assume he's talking about the World Cup Amrabat, the little cameo we've seen in the World Cup, which it's quite interesting because it kind of ties in to the other midfielder we're looking at, Joao Neves. Now, Manchester United have been quoted £85 million for Joao Neves. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not an avid watcher of Portuguese football. Not at all. However, it's a very similar situation to what we had with Amrabat because we've got the Euros coming up and Joao Neves is in the Portugal squad for the Euros. So we're going to kind of get a little glimpse at him. We've got the Euros to judge him on. Similar to how we had the World Cup with Amrabat. We're going to have a little look at him before, we decide are Manchester United going to sign him. Now, I've seen someone in the chat say pay the £85 million for Joao Neves. Now, I can't lie. £85 million a lot of money, mate. £85 million a lot of money. I'm not gonna hang me out on anything yet. I'm not throwing my opinion out there. I've not watched enough of him, but I will be keeping my eye out for him in the Euros. It's not exactly like Jared Branthwaite, for example, who I've watched loads of. I watched loads of Jared Branthwaite. I think he's a quality player. But even then, 70 to 80 million quid. I mean, these prices Manchester United get quoted are just absolutely ridiculous. And I'll tell you why it is. It's because clubs know they can, to put it bluntly, clubs know they can pull our pants down, mate. That's what it comes down to. Clubs know they can pull our pants down. We've got a quote here from Team Talk on Twitter. MUFC believe there's a deal to be done for Joao Neves. Their initial proposal of £51 million was laughed off by Benfica. £51 million was laughed off. Right, look, Joao Neves, I've had a little look into him. He played a decent amount of football this season, just gone. Played in most of the games in the league, stints in the Champions League and the Europa League. But this £51 million laughed off by Benfica, to me, it just feels like this is what happens to Manchester United. And this is because we've got an history of overpaying for players. I mean, sorry, Anthony, but I'm using you as an example, mate. The price tag's got nothing to do with you, mate. It's got everything to do with the people running the club. But we paid £80 million for Anthony. We've now set a benchmark to every club who's got a player that Manchester United are interested in. If we offer less than £80 million, automatically, it's like we rate that player less than Anthony and clubs are going to go, we believe he's better than Anthony, we want more than £80 million. So we seriously big time shot ourselves in the foot here. £80 million. I mean, seriously. Seriously. The same numbers getting thrown around for Jared Branthwaite. Look, we've got an history of doing deals with Everton. But the kid's an awesome player. He's a brilliant player. But come on, he's not Wayne Rooney. £80 million. He's definitely not Wayne Rooney. Whilst we're talking about Jared Branthwaite, I'd be interested to get a little poll, Greg. And now, I don't think you've got this poll on the production sheet, but I would like to know, would you want Jared Branthwaite or would you want Todibo? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I've not watched much of Todibo. I'm not an avid watcher of French football, to be completely honest with you. However, English football, the Premier League, I keep very up to date with it, and I've watched plenty of Jared Branthwaite, plenty enough for me to look at him and go, yeah, quality player, lots of potential, lots of room for development. But 70 to 80 million quid, we can't do that. We've got to break the cycle eventually. If we keep paying 80 million quid for, I don't want to say average, but they're not exactly world beaters, then the cycle's never going to stop. It's never going to stop, and that's going to be the baseline. That's what we're going to get quoted for every single player we show any form of interest in. £80 million. I mean, that is a benefit, and I know Mark's touched on this before. That is a benefit you get of shopping in Europe. You know, rather than shopping in England, you know, it's like shopping in the Trafford Centre, isn't it? You're getting your pants pulled down, mate. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like paying £10 for a coffee. You could go to Italy, you could probably get a far better coffee for £5. Do you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm trying to say? But Jared Branthwaite, I would probably say £50 million. If you could do a deal on Jarrad Branthwaite for £50 million, I'd say, yeah, brilliant, let's do it, let's do it. I find it quite interesting that the guy, it's another left-footed centre-back, so is he going to be a number 2 to Lisandro Martinez? You know, something that's kind of in my mind with Lisandro Martinez, it's kind of worrying, is the amount of games he's missed this season. Is he going to be another one of these injury-prone players that we've had so many of them over the years? I mean, we've just moved one on in Rafael Varane. He was absolutely brilliant when he played, but he just didn't play enough. Anthony Martial, another great example. Another Argentine, we had Marcus Rojo. Again, injury-prone, never got to play. So Branthwaite, he could come in as a number 2 for Martinez, but he could end up playing a lot more than he expects. Hopefully Martinez isn't going to turn out to be one of these injury-prone players again. But going off last season, it is slightly worrying. Just seeing Goldbridge promoting the youth again. I mean, to be honest, mate, if I didn't tell you, some of you could probably assume that I'm older than Mark, to be honest with you. But I'm not. I am slightly younger than Mark. Can we bring in Mats Hummels? It was actually a shout that I said when I watched the Champions League final with Kev on That's Football. I said I wouldn't mind Mats Hummels, you know. I know the age and everything. But come on. I've just seen a £5 here in Italy. It's £1.50 max for a coffee or the place would be burnt down. Now, look, I was trying to tap into my Goldbridge with a little bit of an analogy with, you know, shopping in Europe compared to England. You get me point. I've been corrected, but you do get me point. With Branthwaite not getting picked for the Euros, that would reduce his asking price. Another thing about him not going to the Euros is, can Manchester United, for the first time in forever, get a deal done in the first month or so of the transfer market? Because we've got an absolutely terrible history of leaving things to the last day. I mean, we've done worse than that. Does anyone remember Jadon Sancho? It took us an entire year to get that one over the line. We bartered and bartered him. What did we save? 20 million quid, 15, 20 million quid? And now he's probably going to go. So we've got a terrible history of doing it. It would be nice for us to get a deal done quickly, but you know, going off recent history with Manchester United, it's not looking good, Brev. It is not looking good. So Shane Smith in the chat says, pay £70 million for Neves, with Erik ten Hag looking to bring in Collier and sign Amrabat as well. Well, the thing is, mate, is Erik ten Hag even going to be our manager next year? Because right now, all I'm hearing is Gareth Southgate. Gareth bloody Southgate. Now, we can run a poll on it if you want, Greg. But I mean, I know what the answer to this poll is going to be. Run the poll for me, Greg. Do you want to see Gareth Southgate manage Manchester United? Mate, I mean, I can't. Gareth Southgate, I mean, look, going to the Euros with England. Everybody expects England to go very far in this Euros. Now, I didn't watch England last night. I've not got that much interest in international friendlies, I cannot lie. But we got beat by Iceland. Glad I didn't watch it. But it's a lose-lose situation, right? Because our top target, Gareth Southgate. England are expected to go far in this Euros. If England go far, what does that take us up to? It takes us up to July. So we're going to bring our manager in July. We've got a matter of weeks, 3-4 weeks. That's all it is. And then you're playing the Community Shield. We're playing the Charity Shield. So we've got hardly any time for our manager to decide who he wants to sign. So it's kind of like we're going into a transfer market looking at players. We don't even know if the manager wants players because we don't know who the manager is. But like I said, lose-lose situation. England go far and we get our top target, Gareth Southgate. He's got a matter of weeks, 3-4 weeks to put his team together. And you know how bad United are at getting deals done. You know how long it takes them to get it over the line. Or you've got the other end of the stick. England crash out the group stage. Great. We can get our top target, Gareth Southgate, in early. And let's do some business in the transfer market. Why would you want a manager who's just crashed out of the group stage with arguably the best squad on paper? I don't get it. People, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Now, I'm going to have a look at this poll. I'm expecting to see 90% no. 94% no. Thank you, people. Now, to that 6%, you ain't United fans. I've actually just seen Tull over Southgate. I've not quite got the experience, mate. I might look like I've spent years in the game, but no. I'm a prospect. Tull ball. Look, early doors, very early doors. I'm 20 years old. Maybe in another 30 years, I could maybe look at the Manchester United job. But right now, I'm looking at the United stand job, mate. I'm looking for that Goldbridge job, mate. Like I said, Goldbridge retired. Tull's at the wheel. Let's see a Tull's at the wheel in the chat. Right then, people. We've spoke about Amrabat. We've spoke about Joao Neves. We've spoke about Jared Branthwaite. We have spoke about Gareth Southgate. Oh, I can't say that. I can't even say the words. I mean, it's just a disgrace. Let me just speak about Erik ten Hag for a minute here, right? Seeing lots of tools at the wheels here. And look, back the manager, people. Because that's what I'm about to talk about. Actually, I'm about to talk about backing the manager. So back the host, back the presenter. Thank you very much, people. I hear the support. I hear the Stretford end. Even Tull is better than Gareth Southgate. And even Beth would be better than Gareth Southgate. Put some respect on Beth's name, please. She'd definitely be far better than Gareth Southgate. But I'm getting distracted here. Erik ten Hag. I am a firm... You know, I almost don't want to say ten Hag inner. But that's what I am. I'm ten Hag in. Because I'm not ten Hag out. I'm a firm believer that if we're going to sign a manager on a 3-year deal, if we cannot let a manager see out a 3-year contract, what on earth are we doing as a club? Seriously, what are we doing as a club? You know who does that? Chelsea does that. And the last thing I want us to be is Chelsea, mate. Wait, seriously. That is the last thing I want us to be. We did it with Solskjaer. We gave him a 5-year deal, I think. We sacked him early. Mourinho the same. Long-term deal, we sacked him early. Van Gaal the same. Moyes even more so. So we've purposely given ten Hag a shorter deal because we keep sacking these managers. So we give him a shorter deal on purpose. Good business, to be fair. It's smarter, you know. I mean, as far as the board at United goes, it's a good call. Do you know what I mean? Give the manager a 3-year deal rather than a 5-6-year deal because we keep sacking him. Good decision. At least let him see the 3 years out. I mean, come on. Come on. Now, I want to have a little look in the chat because, look, I know you've probably done it a million times with Beth, Kev, Mark, but help me out, people. I'm new to the show. I do want to see the percentages of people who are ten Hag in and ten Hag out. So I just want Greg to run a little poll of ten Hag in and ten Hag out because is it 50-50? Is it slightly more ten Hag in? I was about to say Southgate in then. Oh God. Honestly, I was literally about to say Southgate in. Oh God. But yeah. Let's have a little look at your super chats, people. We've got Sal. United, a member of the United Stand Members Club for 3 months. Very good to have you on board, Sal. Says, it's not looking good, Brave. I need a Fanta Light, Brave. Cheers, mate. Cheers for your input there. If Gareth Southgate, this is True Kate, a member for 26 months, by the way. Wow. If Gareth Southgate goes out in the group stages, is that the best in business? Bloody hell. I mean, couldn't put it any better, mate. I don't know if you said that before I said it, but if you did, you took the words out of my mouth. It's genuinely a lose-lose situation. You either England go and win the Euros. Look, I'll be buzzing. I'll be absolutely buzzing. But then United's top target, Gareth Southgate, what, you're going to give him how many weeks to gather his squad? What, 4 weeks or something like that? Plus, he's coming off the high of winning the Euros. Let's be honest. He's going to be. I'm not saying hungover is in. He's been on the beers, but you know, you don't have a big peak like that without coming down, mate. You need an holiday after something like that. It's just the timing to be completely wrong. I mean, if United were to do it, you can't even say you'd be surprised anymore because you're not surprised at anything they do. Literally, nothing they do surprises you anymore. I just hate the dead silence we're getting from the club at the moment. We're literally getting the silent treatment. It's like you fell out with your missus. It's like you fell out with your missus. She won't look at you. She won't text you. She's gone out and not said anything. We're not hearing anything. We're just getting a few journalists saying, about dropping little hints about Gareth Southgate. We want to hear about Ten Hag. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear something about Ten Hag. 40 with a super chat says, how did you get on the United stand out of curiosity? Well, I don't want to spend too much time talking about myself, mate. But I am new to the scene. I'm very new to the scene. I've only been creating content as Tull. I might have had other personas in the past, but I've only been creating content as Tull for the past 6 months or so. Some of you may recognise me off TikTok, or maybe have popped up on your Instagram at some point. Some of you may just know me as the other ginger Man United fan. Some of you may know that there is a lab actually pushing out ginger Man United fans, actually mass producing ginger Man United fans. And you may see a new ginger Man United fan next year. It might not be me. It might not be me. It might not be the other ginger Man United fan. We'll get a new ginger Man United fan next. Carl Walsh with a super chat. Southgate has 0 track record as a league manager. What are they possibly seeing that we are not? Well, it's all coming from Sir David Brailsford, isn't it? Apparently the guy loves him. Apparently Ratcliffe. Apparently they all absolutely love the pants off Gareth Southgate. Why? I cannot tell you why, mate. Correct me if I'm wrong, because in 2008, I was 5 years old. But didn't Southgate get Middlesbrough relegated? And I only know that because I watched the CD of that season when United won the Champions League in the league. When we had Ronaldo and he had the 30-goal season. I used to have a CD. I used to have a DVD, not a CD, a DVD. Like a season review. And I'm sure he got him relegated. Help me out in the chat. You're going to have to let me know. But has he actually managed the club since that point? For me, managing England or any international side for that matter, so completely different than managing a club. It's miles different. Miles different. I mean, different expectations from fans. You know, different. You handle the media in a different way. With international football, it's all tournament football, league football. 38 games a season of league football. That is far different from tournament football. Far different as a player and a manager. Tournament football is far more reactive. Far more reactive in terms of players as well. You know, you can let's have a look at England last night, for example. They got beat by Iceland. But I guarantee once they get to the tournament and they're all feeling the hype of the tournament, the adrenaline kicks in, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. It's different in the league. You don't quite get that adrenaline when you have to go to Bournemouth away, or you have to go to Burnley away, or you have to go to Sheffield away. You got to find it from deep within. It's a problem Manchester United have, actually. We're terrible when it comes to those kind of games. So, the Ten Hag in or out poll. Now, like I said, I am sorry for asking it, because I'm sure you're getting asked about it every single night. But it's my first show on the United Stand. Well, I've done the fan forums, but it's my first evening show. Let's have a look. 87% Ten Hag in. That's what I like to see, people. That is what I like to see. Now, I've just seen a chat from Seamus regarding player power. Seamus says, how would Southgate deal with the likes of Rashford, Sancho, Mount, etc. if he got the job after he's just left them out of the Euros? Good point, mate. Very interesting point. It is different, because when it comes to international football, you've got this big pool of players, massive pool of players to pick from. It's a certainty that you're going to leave big players out, especially when the squad's as big as England's is. You know, it's guaranteed. The players know that some of them are going to get missed out. Look at James Maddison, for example. Jack Grealish, Maguire, all big names that have just been missed out, just been cut from the, when they're making the initial 26-man squad. You don't get that with club football. If you're going to leave a player out, that player's not going to be, he's not going to be at home watching. He's going to be sat on the bench next to you. He's going to be sat on the bench next to you. You've still got to keep your squad happy, because, I mean, we know about injuries. Wow, we know about injuries. How many injuries do we have last season? I keep hearing about 60 injuries or something like that. 60 different cases of injuries in one season. How can that... Do you know how ridiculous that is? You've got 38 games in the league. You're averaging like 1.5 injuries a league game. I mean, what on earth? I've just missed a super chat from Carl, so I'm just going to go back and have a little look. Here we go. Thank you very much for this. I've actually missed a few super chats here. Right, give me a minute, people. I've got to go back and have a quick look through these. Right, so, first of all, we've got Billy, member of the United Stand Members Club for 62 months. 62 months, mate. When does that take us back to? Solskjaer, start of Solskjaer days. Was Mourinho even there, maybe? A long time ago, mate. Billy's saying, would the Glazers / INEOS really sack a manager 90% of the fans want to keep to get a manager that 90% of the fans do not want? Now, everything you're saying, Billy, makes complete and utter sense to a sane person. The Glazers aren't quite that, mate. I mean, let's be honest, they've made some questionable decisions over the years. Is this who we're putting our trust in? I mean, seriously, I don't think it really matters what... I mean, to an extent, it's got to matter what the fans think, though, hasn't it? It's got to matter what the fans think, but the way they're talking about it in the media, saying that Ten Hag's gone regardless of whether they win the FA Cup or lose the FA Cup, the decision's been made. It's coming out as if they don't care what the fans think. Now, coming from experience, you will struggle to find a Manchester United fan now who is Ten Hag out. And it is probably about right, probably about 1 in 10 maybe. Maybe 1 in 10 people you speak to when you're at Old Trafford will say, yeah, I want Ten Hag out. For me, and I'm sure you're all on the same page, the main factor in all of this is that, who do you get? Now, we've already spoke about Southgate. I'm done speaking about Southgate. I'm sick to death speaking about him. You've got Thomas Tuchel. Now, I know Kev spoke about this either in the morning or last night. Manchester United have been discussing the possibility of Thomas Tuchel in the last week or so. Is Thomas Tuchel much of an upgrade on Erik Ten Hag? I mean, seriously. You can talk about your trophies. I know he's a Champions League winner. But so was Di Matteo. He won it with Chelsea. And, where's he now? I know it's a bit of a mad comparison, that. But Chelsea is just weird, man. Like, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't base it off him winning the Champions League with Chelsea because he was gone the season after. Do you know what I mean? He was gone the season after, so I wouldn't base it off that. So in my opinion, no, Thomas Tuchel isn't an upgrade on Erik ten Hag at all, not in the slightest. Kieran McKenna just signed a new deal. Now, regardless of whether he signed a new deal or not, we can't bring McKenna in. I mean, come on. That is literally it's the exact same as what we did with Solskjaer. It is literally the exact same appointment as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Some people may argue, but he had Ipswich playing really well in the Championship. I would counter-argue. We'll go have a look at the season Vincent Kompany had with Burnley in the Championship. The football Burnley played in the Championship a couple of seasons ago, mate. Bloody hell. Like some serious football. Doesn't necessarily translate over to the Premier League, mate. Not at all. The jury's still out on Kieran McKenna. Who knows if he's going to be a top manager? I mean, it's promising. It's very promising, but we see it happen with players. You know, you can have a player who's unbelievably promising and just fizzles out and becomes nothing. You can have the same thing with a manager. Let's have a go, have a quick look to our next super chat. We've got Keil Robertson. Without Southgate, INEOS has no negotiation. Pause it. Not sure what you mean by that, Keil. Without Southgate, INEOS has no negotiation. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not quite sure what you mean, Keil. If you drop something in the chat, I'll keep my eye out for it. Carl Walsh with some stats here. This is what I was looking forward to reading this one. My eyes lit up when I seen this. This is regarding Gareth Southgate. He had a 25% win rate as a Prem manager. Worse than Walter Mazzarri. Worse than Roy Keane. And worse than Dave Jones and Patrick Vieira, who were all hovering around 29% to 25% win rate. And more, he says. So there's other managers. So 25% win rate as a Prem manager. I know it's at Middlesbrough, but it can't happen. It won't happen. Come on, it won't happen. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in God? Because if you do, it won't happen. I mean, seriously. Well, that's not to look, politics, religion, you know, usually would leave it. But if there is a God, don't make Gareth Southgate Manchester United manager. What have we done to deserve this? Do you know what I mean? INEOS stick to making soap, treating fans like clowns. Yeah, I tell you what, mate. If they get Gareth Southgate as manager, I'll buy every single bottle of that Angel, that antibacterial Angel they do, because I'm going to need to wash my eyes out, mate. If I have to go to Old Trafford and watch Gareth Southgate on the sideline, I mean, oh my God. Just give me the Angel, give me the INEOS Angel, mate. And give me a toothbrush as well. I mean, seriously. I'm going to have a little look in the chat here, people. We've done our super chats. Let's have a little look in the chat, see what people are coming up with. Anonymous says none of them's an upgrade. I assume regarding Thomas Tuchel, Kieran McKenna, all that lot. Unless they get someone like Zizou. I agree, mate. I heard Mark say this last night. Or day before, whenever he said it. But it's never going to happen. I mean, Zidane. We were speaking about Zidane years ago. We were speaking about Zidane when Mourinho got sacked. We're never going to see Zidane as a Manchester United manager, I don't think. I just can't see a world where that happens. I think if you ever see Zinedine Zidane managing again, it'll just be at Real Madrid again, more than likely. If Gareth Southgate becomes our manager, I'm going to Old Trafford in disguise. Well, let's hope you disguise as a pair of sunglasses on, really dark shade of tint sunglasses, because you're not going to want to see him on the sideline. Trust me. Let me have a little scroll up the chat, people. Let's have a little look. Seeing a lot of people talking about the situation with the manager not being an upgrade on Ten Hag. I mean, that is the main thing, isn't it? What's the point in halting a 3-year project to go back to square one with a completely new man. You know, player. I mean, think about put yourself in the shoes of a Manchester United player who's seen. Let's have a look at Diogo Dalot, for example. Forget that. Let's have a look at Luke Shaw, for example. He's seen Van Gaal get sacked. He's seen Mourinho get sacked. He's seen Solskjaer get sacked. He's seen Rangnick do whatever Rangnick did. Could you imagine he's seen Ten Hag get sacked as well? I mean, it just fills you with hopelessness to a certain extent. The whole thing you get with a new manager bounce. Does the new manager bounce really work for the 6th, 7th time? I mean, surely, after so many new managers, eventually you just go, well, we know what's going to happen here. We know what's going to happen. The inevitable Manchester United manager cycle. He'll be here for 2 years and then he'll be gone. And it'll be the next guy, and it'll be the next guy, and it'll be the next guy. Just give Ten Hag to the end of his deal. Let him see his deal out. Like I said before, Ten Hag in. I basically am Ten Hag in, but I suppose I'm on the fence is what I am. Because really what I want to see is, I don't want to see United offer Ten Hag a new contract, to be honest with you. I just want to see him, let him see out the contract. Let him see out the contract, and then at the end of the season, make your call. End of next season, that is. Let's have this next season. Let's see if we can push, get into the Champions League. That would be nice. It'd be nice to get into the Champions League by winning the Europa League. Because we're due to win the Europa League eventually. The amount of times we've come close in recent years. I mean, we crashed out last year. We lost on penalties in the final when Solskjaer was there. That would be nice to see. But that's the thing, though. Let's just give Ten Hag to the end of his contract and evaluate there. Why do we have to make a decision now? Just let's see what he's got to offer in the last year. And you know what? Ten Hag outers would love it. They'd love it if we finish 8th again next season. They'd absolutely love it. They would. But then at that point, you go, do you know what? Yeah. You know, cheers for the cups. We won the cups, but if you're going to finish that poorly 2 seasons in a row, 2 out of 3 seasons, then you go, yeah, he's got to go. And hopefully, at that point, hypothetically, if we were to do it, you've got new managers. You've got new managers available on the market. You've got better options on the market than what there is right now. I've not even spoke about Mauricio Pochettino. That's another manager. I've not even spoke about him. You know, you could argue he shouldn't have got sacked by Chelsea. But, again, it's like, it almost feels like we're just taking Chelsea rejects at this point. I mean, Thomas Tuchel, Chelsea reject. Mauricio Pochettino, Chelsea reject. Jose Mourinho, Chelsea reject. We can't keep doing this. Let's break this Chelsea cycle, seriously. Now, let me have a little look here. I've got a little note from Greg in red. Excuse the voice crack. Not long come out of puberty. So, we've got Manchester United are set to make an improved proposal for Joao Neves. It's believed United could raise their offer to €75 million, which is just under £64 million for the player, whilst also adding in a string of add-ons that could take the fee nearer to the €85 million mark. We always do that, don't we? We always add these little add-ons in. Who did we do that with now? There was another player we did it with not long ago where we're probably still paying off the add-ons. It's a lot of money for a midfielder. I've got to be completely honest with you, because it's my first show. I don't want to come across as like I've got no ball knowledge, some might say. But I don't watch Portuguese football, to be honest with you, and I'm not an avid watcher of Benfica in Europe. Like, do you know what I mean? If like Benfica are in a quarter-final or semi-final, then I might have a little watch of it. But I'm not keeping up to date with Benfica in the group stage. I expect not a lot of you are either. So, what I'm going to do, and I think what a lot of you lot should do, is let's judge him on the Euros. Let's have a watch of the Euros this summer, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's what we did with Amrabat. And look, we've probably not seen the best of Amrabat yet. Do you know what I will say about Amrabat is there's a little, I'm going to make a name for it, second season. I was going to say second season syndrome, but that makes it sound like a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. There's some plays United have had where it's took them a year to settle in. Fred, in particular, I remember being absolutely slated in his first season as a Manchester United player. And then his second season, he's a very important player. He's a very important player. Remember, we beat City at the Etihad. Did we beat City? Yeah, we did. We beat City at the Etihad that season. Fred played a vital role in that game. It was that whole McFred thing, wasn't it? McTominay and Fred sat in the midfield. McTominay's still here. Fred's gone now, unfortunately. But another one, Marouane Fellaini. He got absolutely slated in his first season. You know, everyone was saying, what on earth are we doing? Or were we doing signing Marouane Fellaini? However, Louis van Gaal came in and found a little use for him. If you remember his second season, Marouane Fellaini scored a lot of goals in his second season. I remember witnessing quite a few of them. I think there was a goal against City at Old Trafford. There might have been a goal against Liverpool at Old Trafford, if my memory's serving me well. So, let's hope, if we are going to do this deal for Sofyan Amrabat, let's hope he can get this little second season bounce that other Man United players have had. Because we've seen it before. Let's have a little look in the chat, people. Amrabat played at left back for most of the season, I've just seen, by the great one. Now, I know he played at left back at the start of the season. Villa in particular, I think. Oh, I might be getting that wrong. I can't quite remember. Or was it? No, it wasn't Villa. I think it might have been Palace. I have a feeling it was Palace in the cup, and it was one of Amrabat's first starts, and he did play at left back. But for the remainder of the season, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought he was playing in midfield for the remainder of the season. Yeah, not too sure. I've just seen someone mentioned Johnny Evans, right? And I completely forgot to mention to you, like, here's another talking point for you. Just since we're saying Mark loved Fellaini, I'm not so sure he did, mate. Anyway, Johnny Evans. United apparently looking at giving Johnny Evans a new deal. I'm happy with it, to be honest with you. I like Johnny Evans. I do like Johnny Evans. I remember my dad saying to me when Johnny Evans left United, it shouldn't have been Johnny Evans to go. It should have been Chris Smalling or Phil Jones. I think he's good. I think he's a good footballer. I really do like Johnny Evans. I think this season in particular, the season that's just gone, I think he's been stable. I think he's been sturdy. I don't really remember a game where Johnny Evans has been all over the place, where sometimes you can see, sometimes you can see Harry Maguire drop a stinker every now and then. I don't really remember seeing that with Johnny Evans. He's got a lot of experience, you know. He's got a hell of a lot of experience, Johnny Evans. The guy's been to Wembley so many times. He's been to Wembley so many times. Not just with United, with Leicester. He won an FA Cup with Leicester, don't forget. Unless it was a League Cup. I think it was an FA Cup. But the guy's got experience, man. He's like 34, 35 years of age or something like that. He's been around United for years and years. I mean, he was even in the squad last time we won the Champions League. That's how long Johnny Evans has been around for. Obviously, the age thing, it's like, you know, maybe we should sign a young centre-back. But don't forget, Rafael Varane's leaving. So if we sign a young centre-back, that centre-back's just going to be filling in for Varane. I don't see any issue with keeping Johnny Evans around. Obviously, I reckon that one will tear people up in the chat. I think that'll tear people up in the chat. If you don't mind, Greg, let me get a poll in the chat for are you happy that Johnny Evans is staying? Well, how should we word it? Johnny Evans, keep or let go. Something like that, Greg. Let's have something like that. I've seen a lot of people, to be fair, saying, yeah, I'd keep Evans. Evans been good for us this season, I agree. But I'm seeing I easily say Johnny Evans' deal is a joke. I don't know what you're on about. But we've got our poll up now. The poll has just come up on your screen. Saying Man U is so broke that Evans is as good as it gets. Now, just because he's 30 odd years old, he's not got an exotic name. You know, it's Johnny Evans. You're not getting much more of a British name than that. Well, Northern Ireland. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say. Just because he's not an exotic, you know, Raphael Varane. I love Varane. I mean, I did love Varane. I mean, probably forget about him now. He's left. But yeah, just because we've not spent 100 million quid on him, it doesn't mean he's not a good player. You know, I think there's a use for him. I think there's definitely a use for him as a bit part player. Should he be starting for Man United? No. But I think there's more to being part of a squad than just playing games. I think just being around the club, just being in the dressing room. The guy's clearly a leader. He's clearly a leader. It's important to have those experienced players in the squad. So, we've got 500 votes on the poll. We'll let it run for a little bit. We'll give the poll 5 minutes to cook. Because I feel like it's going to be split. I'm hoping it's going to be slightly more towards Johnny Evans staying, because it's Johnny Evans, man. We love Johnny Evans. He's a red. Toll is at the wheel. You spelt my name wrong, mate. It's T-U-L, not T-O-L. I'm not a toll. You don't have to pay me to get over the bridge. That's not me, mate. With age comes experience, says Veronica Griffiths. Look at Modric, just getting a new contract with Real Madrid, 38 years of age. I mean, Luka Modric and Johnny Evans, I mean, in terms of quality, slight difference maybe, but you're absolutely right, Veronica. You are absolutely right. 2 super chats and being told. Let's have a quick look at our super chats, people. Quick look at that super chat, and we'll come back to our Johnny Evans poll. Let's have a look. So, Juan says, you're doing great, mate. You're chatting with United fans, not an audience. We're all excited to see more of you. Juan, I don't know if it's Juan Mata or a different one. The special one. The chosen one. But hopefully you'll be seeing plenty more of me, mate. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the kind words. Keel Robinson has come back. Oh, I think Keel's corrected the chat, because I think she's or he or they. I think they've corrected. I think they've sent the message early last time. Keel says, without threat of Southgate, INEOS have no negotiation position against Erik ten Hag. Right. Yeah, so she, he, they cut the message off early. It was negotiation position against Erik ten Hag. Also, Anthony will come good next season. Wow. Keel, if you're a genie, or what's the word, a medium? No, they speak to dead people, don't they? Who predicts the future? Greg, who predicts the future, Greg? Chat, help me out here. Who is it who predicts the future? Is it a medium? But I thought they speak to dead people. Either way, Keel might just be that. What, a fortune teller, a psychic. There we go, people. An oracle. Not Johnny Vegas oracle. I wouldn't go to Johnny Vegas, mate, for your for tips on your future. Matthew, a clairvoyant. No, I've never heard that word in my life, mate. But yeah, clairvoyant. Mystic Meg. A prophet. Wow, there's loads of words I could have gone for here, and couldn't think of a single one. A dreamer. Yeah, maybe dreamer's a good word for this. Anthony, come good next season. It's actually Anthony's 3rd season we're going into here. We spoke about the 2nd season thing with Manchester United players coming good after, you know, having a bit of a unsteady start the first year, but then coming good the season after. It's a bit different with Anthony, because it's the 3rd season. I hope he comes good because we spent 80 million quid on the bloke. I mean, seriously, the other thing is with Anthony as well. You see little bits of Anthony, which is like, if he gets it right, he could genuinely be a fan favourite. Because, you know, when he's on the pitch, you know, you see him come on against Liverpool in the Cup. And he brings energy. He does bring energy. The problem with Anthony is the decision-making, the final ball, composure, some might say. That's the real big problem with Anthony. The price tag is... Look, it is what it is, the price tag. I mean, I know Anthony put an Instagram post on the other day talking about, you know, he has the fans, the backing there, he has the support from the fans. He's grateful for the backing of the fans. There was something about him, you know, he's got nothing to do with the price tag, which is right. He's got nothing to do with the price tag. But Warren G's just spoke about the cross to Garnacho. I know exactly which one you're on about, mate, in the Chelsea game. I mean, what a ball. What a ball. But that's what I mean. You see little things with Anthony to where, you know, sometimes you'll have a 20-minute stint where he looks like a truly top-class winger. But it's just the other 90% where he's inconsistent, lacks composure. Look, let's hope he comes good next season because we could do with a solid right winger. Thought Anthony was from Brazil. Clearly, he's from Peru. Now, seeing, you know, a lot of people are against Anthony at the moment, and look, would I play him over? I'd probably play Garnacho on the right over Anthony, to be honest with you. I think you get more out of Garnacho on the right than Anthony because of how so one-footed Anthony is. You know, he's only got that left foot, but he's not exactly Iron Robin. Do you know what I mean? Robin had this knack of, like, when he cut in on his left foot, everyone knew he was doing it, but you couldn't do anything about it. Everyone knows Anthony's doing it, but it's just so easy to stop it. I mean, the guy's right foot, I mean, come on. It's terrible. It's like he's got hands for feet, but just on one foot, on his right foot. So let's have a look at our poll, people. Johnny Evans, keep or let go? 1,380 votes. Should we try? Go on, let's get that up to 1,500 votes, people. 1,500 votes. Come on, 100 people, get your votes in. We've got 5 minutes of the show left. I want to hear what you think about Johnny Evans. Here we are. The votes are coming in. The votes are coming in. I'm getting on well with the United Stand audience. We can be friends, you lot. We can be friends. Right, we're just touching 1,500 votes. Let's have a quick look. Right, Johnny Evans, keep or let go. I'm voting keep. I'm voting keep. And it's not doing anything. Let me refresh the page. Here we go, 66% keep, 34% let go. Quite interesting, that. I'd like to know, if we're going to let Johnny Evans go, right, I just think it's unnecessary right now. I just think it's completely unnecessary. So, you know, Branthwaite, Todibo. 2 centre-back options that we're looking at right now, but that's a Rafael Varane replacement. We're then going to have to go and look for a Johnny Evans replacement, which, realistically, do we really need to replace Johnny Evans right now? You know, before spending money on a midfielder. And then look at it that way, Joao Neves, we're getting quoted near 70, 80 million quid. Branthwaite, we're getting quoted near 70, 80 million quid. So that's already putting you on about 150 million quid. And then what, you're going to go spend even more money on another centre-back when we still need a striker? We still need a striker. We seriously need a striker. I mean, Højlund, as it was, you know, he shouldn't have been a lone striker this season anyway. He needs someone else to help him. I know Martial, oh, God knows what Martial was doing all year, but we've not got him now anyway. Martial needs replacing. ideally with someone who can actually play. How many games we get out of Martial last year? 5 maybe. So we're going to have to spend money on a decent striker. You could argue, do you want a young striker or do you want an experienced striker? It wouldn't surprise me if Manchester United pull the usual trick and go and get a 30-year-old, experienced striker on a free. You could argue it's worked in the past. It hasn't worked. I mean, Radamel Falcao didn't work. Zlatan, it worked until he got injured, which there's a problem with signing people so old. Edinson Cavani, I loved Edinson Cavani. It absolutely worked, if you ask me. Ronaldo, was Ronaldo on a free? If he wasn't on a free, we certainly got him cheap. Yeah, I've just seen someone get Danny Welbeck back. That might be time to wrap up the show, people. I mean, Danny Welbeck, oh my God. Cavani was awesome. Cavani was sensational. He was. He really was. Ronaldo worked. He got us top 4. Did he? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Anyway, Ireland. Oh, quick super chat from Grace before we wrap up. Ireland would bag 20 plus if wingers knew how to pass. I mean, that's the interesting thing with the way United play. Our wingers aren't really wingers, are they? They're like the forwards. For example, Marcus Rashford. I mean, yeah, he's playing on the wing. He's a left winger, but he's not Ryan Giggs. He's not going to get down the byline and put the ball in the box. He's going to try and take his man on and score a goal. Same with Anthony. Ahmad, I'd say, is a bit more of an actual winger, but he almost reminds me of like a Juan Mata, Ahmad. He's like a midfielder playing on the wing. Yeah, I mean, it's on the system, really. It's on the system. If you're going to have Ireland, if you want Ireland to get 20 plus goals a season, you need the players around him doing the job, getting the ball to him. And right now, Ireland's working off scraps because the wingers aren't really wingers, the forwards. The wingers are trying to score rather than get the ball to Ireland. It's been a little bit of a mess in terms of on that front this season. Again, I think Bruno was our top goal scorer this year. Again, we love him, don't we? Oh, it'd be terrible if he went. Right, people, I'm going to wrap up today's show. Thank you to everybody saying nice show. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you again soon, whether it'll be on my own show or whether it'll be on your TikTok. You might be scrolling your TikTok at early hours of the morning. I might pop up, people. I might just pop up. Or maybe it'll be on the fan forum. Who knows? But like I said, thank you, everybody. Great debut. I forget it's my debut, this. Didn't mention, did I? My debut. Wow. We might look back on this debut in years to come and go, bloody hell. Bloody hell, we've come some way. But, like I said, thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. It's time to get geared up for the Euros. I mean, until we find out what's going on with Manchester United's manager situation, there's probably no point even thinking about United because we're going off scraps. So until we hear about Ten Hag, do you know what I mean? Let's just, keep busy. Stop thinking about United for a bit. Right, see you later, people. Enjoyed it. It's been good. I'll see you in the next one. See you later.